Hi couples, thank you for joining me back. Um, I uploaded the video. I made sure that it was there and deleted it to make room in my phone to continue to a part 2 for you guys. So before I got cut off, I did look at your 7th card, and it's the Lovers. You got the Lovers. And this is the arrowhead. So this represents like the personal intent of you aiming at the problem and pointing at the outcome in hand, what your arrowhead is going towards. You know, well, I mean, this is you. So you are in judgment, or you are being judged, or this judgment has caused this situation to happen. And it's definitely a relationship reading because it's a choice. To judge, to not to judge. That is the decision. You know, it's the Lovers to choose to, let's see, let's look at this as a spread. Let's see what we get. So, all right. Let's see. Couples in a nutshell. For May 10th, 2016, and or whenever this comes to you, because it's a slightly more complicated reading than I had expected. As usual, right? So, as is life. So, what do I see here? The story I see here is a lot of judgment that needs to be released or balanced. You know, maybe somebody feels judged, somebody feels like they do too much, somebody feels like they don't do enough, or like the other person doesn't do enough. There needs to be a balance in the scales somewhere that's rooted. It's rooted in a transformation. So there is a waiting that it's happened. There is a, maybe you've been waiting for, I feel like there's this burst coming, couples. It's like a burst of spiritual excitement. Like, this is more than just a party to me. You know, these like antelope things are leaping up to the point where they're touching the sun with their horn. I mean, picture the energy of that animal leaping up and so excited to the point where they're hitting that, and then the energy of that connection, if that actually happened. I mean, it's like piercing the sun, right? It's not just reaching up to it. You're going into it, and you're penetrating that sunshine, that moment. You're living it. You're being this moment. So what needs to come into balance in your life, couples, that makes you feel like you could fly with your other? You know, maybe like Superman, maybe like the Incredible Hulk, maybe like another superhero with wings, maybe like an angel, maybe like a bird, just maybe like a butterfly, something with wings, something, was that a bird? I really hope that that picked up on camera, because it's like midnight 30 and there was totally just a bird in the woods that sang. I hope it was on camera. So what would make you feel in this relationship, within yourself, with the other person, when you're with the other person, when you're not with the other person, when the other person is with you, when they're not with you? What can make you guys, both on your own and together, because this is a Lovers situation. This is the other person choosing something, you choosing something, and perhaps the universe in 20 in that situation to be a little factor. So you can't control the other person, and to think you should is just wrong and crazy, and you shouldn't. You can control you, and you could possibly live by a really good example so that the person is so inspired that they just kind of want to do it too. for them and for you. Not because you made them, just because you started to live it. And it looked so awesome, they wanted to join in. And that's it. That's all you can do. So maybe you just need to do that. Maybe you need to look at how you, yourself, in your relationship, you as an individual, you as the superhero, you're the superhero in your situation with your other. Whether you know it or not, I'm pretty sure they probably look at you a little bit like a superhero if they're with you, you know, in your own little way. So be the superhero in that relationship and start with knowing you and your abilities and your strengths and your pitfalls, you know, your kryptonite that maybe is your little trap, and understand it so that you know if the kryptonite comes out that you prefer to keep your kryptonite in a big lead box so it doesn't bother you. Don't take that literally, you know, into your life, into your own life. How does that work with you? What is your own, you know, antidote? What is your own poison? And what is the poison to the other person, maybe about you? So maybe they don't wear the necklace that has the energy that makes you feel sick all the time. Maybe you need to discuss that, and that's something you can work out. Maybe when you work out what your kryptonite is in this situation and what makes you feel like a superhero, and then talk about maybe with the other person about, oh my gosh, you are totally my superhero and it's because of this. And focus on maybe not the kryptonite so much once you face it and deal with it and let that kryptonite go, since you're transforming. You can't keep your same poisons with you when you're going to be this brand new superhero. You're going to create, you know, your own antidotes to this situation. And you're going to do it by starting with the decision that you can do, which is by yourself. So even if you've judged yourself, forgive yourself. Release judgment on yourself so that you can release judgment on others, so that they can release judgment on themselves and on you and the situation. Just release the judgments. Feel a little free to be who you are and fly. Breathe. Know that you're in a place spiritually where you can change, and situations happen around you. You know, sometimes some situations you don't expect. Sometimes just the dynamic of something that you were in the dark about. Sometimes it's just the dynamic of somebody who suddenly is getting some spiritual gifts and doesn't know how the heck to use them, what is going on, or what to do about it. And maybe the other person doesn't have that happening. Maybe it's something like that, you know, and the other person's like, I don't understand why you're seeing ghosts. I don't understand why you're talking about a past life. That shit's crazy. And I love you, but I don't know what to say. But in your heart, you know that you trust them. And it's a personal experience, whatever they went through. So even if you don't really know what's going on, you know that they believe it. So you're kind of on board, but you're in the dark. So maybe you're there and this is a judgment thing. Maybe you need to take that thing I said and make it into your own life and your own situation somehow. But there's a weirdness and darkness about it, and then there's something coming to light. There's something, a truth. There's a passion. There's a party. There's this sense where once it comes out and you see it for what it is, and maybe you see that you actually both want to make the same choice towards something. Or maybe you don't. Maybe one person wants to eat the apples in the basket and sit down and have a picnic right now, and the other one's perfectly fine with waiting till this big juicy fruit is ready, and then they'll have that in their pudding or their, you know, pickling or wherever, you know. Or maybe they're going to pickle it later and have it in the winter. They'll have the picnic now. But there's a possible discussion that needs to be had about when the picnic needs to come and how big the tent should be for your party. Maybe you're just being invited to a nice outdoorsy picnic in like a porch or something and you need to go. And that's the place where you're going to feel that freedom to talk about what you need to, because your environment is of a beautiful light rather than the dark. Since this is which is that? That's the fletching. So that's what'll cause the balance in your situations. This is what will cause this stability, is to create an excitement about something. Maybe you need to remember what made these roses bloom, all these big pink beautiful roses. It's like they're dancing on this beautiful, I mentioned a lot of essence thing in the singles reading, so maybe you need to bounce on this ground so that this smell of who you are literally like elevates you up to your sunshine and creates this memory. Maybe this memory is something important for you. You need to create a memory. Maybe you need to think about a good memory to create. Maybe you need to plan something fun to do when it starts to get nice out, or it starts to get cold out if you're in that part of the world. Snuggle up together in a blanket. Look at the stars. You know, maybe you forgot what the other person wishes. Maybe you never knew in the first place. Maybe they just thought of it and they never had the idea before, and now your discussion makes this brand new idea come up. You've been waiting for a while for something, and the patience and the sense of going into your inner guidance, your inner intuitive spiritual nature to tap into what's going on around you will guide you. But don't be guided by fear, even if you can't see what's around you. Know that anything that's dark or anything that is in the shadow is there to bring you strength, to help you see joy, to help you experience joy, to know joy when you see it, to know when this fruit is right to be plucked, and to really enjoy its juices. I'm going to pull you one more card since we've done a reading, but let's do something different. I'm going to do an animal card to finish up for part 2, May 10th, couples relationship reading, so however you want to see that reading. Something to clarify the bow spread for all y'all and me. Highest, greatest good of everybody. Let's do 2 cards since it's a relationship. So we'll pull you and the other person, however you want to look at this. It's you and the other. Shall we do one more for the universe? Let's do one more for the universe. We don't want to leave big factor out. Okay, so you got the KIWI. Do a walking meditation each day for the next